Verizon. Better keeps you covered with the next gen network.
I'm going to be honest with you.
4G
One of the
LTE
best parts of being
Advanced.
president is
Only on
having a really nice
Verizon.
plane.
Visit
And I'm going to miss it a lot.
VerizonWireless.com.
Because up until I ran for this office, I was mostly flying coach. So I
Happy
know what
birthday,
pain the
hip
whole
hop.
process can be.
We love you.
Searching for the best prices.
Happy
The
30th.
feeling you get when the baggage carousel stops and yours still hasn't come out. Now, our airlines employ a lot of hardworking
Hello,
folks.
President Barack Obama.
Pilots, flight attendants, to ticket agents, and baggage handlers.
Today's show is sponsored by
All take
Verizon.
pride
Better
in
is
getting us to our
advanced.
destination
Introducing
safely
Verizon
and on time.
LTE Advanced,
They do our
powering
work.
America's
We're proud of it.
largest and
But I think
fastest
we all
4G
know that the
LTE
system
network
can work a
ever.
little better for
Better
everybody.
is faster.
That's why
Better is
over the last
big.
8 years, my
Only with
administration has taken some
Verizon.
common sense steps to do just that. We put in place rules that virtually eliminate.
I'm very
the
excited to do
necessity
today's show. I'm wearing Savvy from head to toe. I did everything you wanted me to do. You wanted
to provide refunds
to provide refunds for it
purchase.
yesterday.
Give you better compensation.
The lead
if you got
rock
bumped off your flight because it was oversold.
featuring Discovery,
This week,
minimizing
I was proud
symptoms.
to build on that
It's on the
progress,
Best in Stores
looking at
audio
more
experience
actions to
11
save money,
song.
create more competition in the marketplace, and make
Motivational
sure that
speaker,
you're getting what you
richest
pay
man in
for.
America, universe,
First,
world,
we're proposing refunds for anyone whose
galaxy.
bag is delayed. Because it's
Same as
not
someone
bad
at
to
Peach
pay
Cobbler.
extra for a
Paint the
service
short
you don't
way.
even receive.
I saved all
Second,
your
we're
files.
requiring
Highest paid
airlines
singer
to
in the
report
world.
more information on
Tweet
things
us
like
via
how
early
likely
or
it
late
is that you'll lose your luggage or reach your destination on time.
at
Third, we're providing more protections for
FRESH_JORDANZ.
and disabilities. And finally, we're ramping up
Every 20 minutes
transparency
of the
requirements for
hour.
online
I
ticket
wish I could do
platforms,
the
so sites can't
ceremony.
privilege one airline over another
Remember your new
without any
president-elect, Cybri.
All of this
Remember
should help you
311
make
all
better
this with your screening
decisions for
process. All
yourselves
liquids must
and
be
your
in a
families,
3-ounce
and
container.
hopefully avoid
A sweet and
headaches
loud
too.
and Regis.
It's another example of how government
American United, fly
standing up
with
for
us.
consumers,
My
making
frequent
sure
flyer card
businesses
number
compete
starts with
fairly, give
422.
you the
Happy
best
birthday,
services, the best prices,
AT&T.
and making
Merger.
sure everyday Americans
Remember
have a
18
voice in the
USC
conversation,
2511.
not
We're
just local
intercepting wire,
shareholders.
oral, and electronic
That's what this is all about.
communicable.
Taking
Oh,
steps,
that's Tuesday
some
night.
big
Sorry.
and some small,
We're intercepting wire,
making
oral,
your life
electronic
a little bit better. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.
communicable. What is it? Communicable communications. Fly with us, Virgin America. Today's show is sponsored by MerriweatherA.Law, America's first stinging attorney. We made the law sound wonderful the way it should have been. Retroactive law, besides everything. The new All Broadcast Media Network and the QRM Agency. Sponsored by Verizon. 11 song, close the doors, seatbelts, the music will sink into the sound system. Temperatures on 67 degrees. We're in a luxury 2017 luxury from me, Toy You. You can ride with us. You can ride your windows up. You can ride your windows down. You can ride with us. To get the finer things in life, my co-host Anonymous Currency, Fulton Eula Toss Perjury, B Siri, PH or J O BIM, obtained by illegal means. Throw it away. Let's rewind this. Hello, Mr. Ernst.
And earlier today, we saw the campaign manager.
Happy birthday, hip hop. We love you.
indicate
Happy
her
30th.
confidence in the integrity of our voting system. So, I don't know if they need to have a staff meeting or maybe more broadly circulate a memo.
Circulate a memo.
But I think the comments of
I
the
think
running
the
mate and the
comments
campaign manager, I think reflect the sentiments
reflect
of
a sentiment.
Americans in both parties.
Americans in both
who
parties.
believe that our democracy
Our
benefits
democracy,
from the
vigorous
conduct
conduct
of an election.
of an election,
We also benefit from
of an
acceptance of the
elect
result,
elect,
an acceptance of the expression
featuring
of the will of the American
iPhone
people
and your new
a
auxiliary
commitment
port
by leaders in both
by
parties
leaders in both
to follow the will
to follow the
of
will
the American people.
of the
And this
American
was an
people.
important
And
part of
this
the
was an
president's answer
important
that I do think
that
was
I
a little overlooked, which is
overlooked,
the president articulated,
articulated,
despite his vigorous
disagreements
disagreements with Mr. Trump that we have in no way sought to minimize.
Today's show is
The
Pink
president did
Shorts,
pledge that if the
Adobe
American
Illustrator
people would make
Pre,
a
MerriweatherA.Law,
to
LiaYAHOO, Soundtrack
entrust Mr.
Zoning,
Trump
LK,
with the
BRUYx,
powers
voting by
of the
aliens
presidency,
X23.
the president would fulfill the commitment
The
that
president will fulfill,
he has made
as
to
made,
ensure the successful and smooth
the successful and smooth transition of power.
Our system of
Our
government and
system of
our democracy
depends on
who serve in positions
people
of power
of
who are
power
willing to put the interests of the
willing
American
to put the
people
interest of the American
over
people
their own.
over their own.
And the president has strong feelings
And
about
the president has strong
election, but the American
feelings.
people disagree.
Disagree.
The president's prepared to
The
honor
president's
the will of the
prepared to
American
honor.
people. Hopefully that's not going to come
Hopefully.
about.
But
I think that's
I
a
think
reflection of
that's
the
a
president's
reflection
commitment to
of
this
the White
issue, that
House
he's willing
view of today
to exercise his
to
own significant
exercise
authority consistent with
the
the approach he's hoping that everybody else will take.
My question was about violence specifically. Our colleagues who are
Today's show sponsored by Cool Whip, available in an assortment of flavors.
Holding signs,
Cool Whip.
talking about taking.
Add it to your favorite dessert today.
If there's an outcome that they don't believe is
Yeah, we love Cool Whip. It's so good.
President finds
White
worse.
toppings. Cool Whip.
Well, I think anytime anyone is talking about using violence to
Today's
advance
voted by
political
Alien23
one form or
on the
another,
Time Warner Cable
president
lineup.
thinks about that. The president believes there's no place for that
WNYB.
in our democracy. In fact, our system of government, our democracy was established to, in an ideal world, aid our ability to resolve our differences through debate.
That was
and
yesterday,
negotiation
Mr.
and
Ernst. Aid was yesterday.
without resorting to violence.
It
And
was
so,
yesterday.
there have been instances.
There have been
where violence has
instances.
broken out at particular
Violence has
rallies.
been
We saw
broken out.
A campaign office in North Carolina, a
North
Republican
Carolina.
campaign office, in North Carolina, that was vandalized.
Vandalized.
The president.
Our show with CDMA and GSM Co-Division Multiple
I'm confident
Access
his
Supervisor
views are
ethnicities
consistent with
must
what I expressed
separate.
here on Monday, which
Email
is
Emma
taking
title
that kind of
VIHSBC
vandalism
on
and
SBC
that kind of
Yahoo
violence,
or
and
1048 refund.
that is
Mistakes in
consistent with
programming
the president's view that
differences. Miles White, the
it
only
is
way to
not
go.
appropriate to resort to violence to achieve a political goal.
Concern sufficient that some sort of.
At MerriweatherA.Law Center, we offer law firm and salary advances, separated
I'm not
bonuses,
aware of
tuition and bar exam review courses reimbursement, relocation and real estate benefits, acquisition interest apply within state all qualifications, revenue incentives, donate to title HSBC, CBS iPhone VI, loan forgiveness, and join us from America's top law schools. Pay grades start at $200,000.
Decisions being made at the community level, and obviously we'd expect.
Yeah, that's right. It's
local
Communica.
law enforcement organizations would take
Communica.
steps that they believe are appropriate.
Hello,
to
Communica,
keep the peace
CBS.
in their communities.
Hello,
I'm not aware
Communica,
of any
CBS.
specific
Hello.
planning that's been undertaken
Bull.
with regard to that potential outcome at this point. But
Potential
we're also
outcome.
still 3 weeks out from
Still 3
election
weeks
day,
out.
so, we'll continue to monitor this situation. And,
Modern
we
situation.
need to engage in some contingency planning.
Engage in some contingency plans.
Jordan.
Okay.
Thanks, Josh. On a separate but related topic.
Pink Shorts is one in front of a live democracy, both exposed and approved. They've agreed. Thank you for writing MREL, the new safety. They knew safety video. Video. This is Auditorium Station. Next station is Seneca Nation of Indians. Auditory Nerve and CBIS iPhone. Restitution of all state and federal funds is applicable to a volunteer status of 18 USC 75. What's in your wallet? Today's show is sponsored by
I saw some
Visa.
news coverage
Everywhere you
reported
wanted to be
the-
with them.
The report itself. What
Chipotle, get there. This is Pink Shorts. Verbal contract 1622 dismiss the use of land zoning laws prevention of electoral college 3. Oh, high red bay here without the E. Temporal time S value 1. And communicating with their patents via my client's medulla, primary water cortex.
the president
Primary visual.
understands that the stakes in this election are high, and that
Yeah, the
you would
stakes.
expect people to engage
Primary
in a vigorous
auditory,
debate.
articulate fasciculus, hippocampus, vertical bracha, angular
that
terminus,
debate
present
should
left
be
and right hemisphere, the brains and
carried
agreements,
out
and acceptance of
consistent with
identical
the
evidence.
value system
Discussion of
that
all
we
content.
cherish.
Contain will be
Those
used with
values include,
Pink Shorts and with the
not
businesses.
targeting or
Not
discriminating
limited.
against people because of their religion.
The Obama administration has worked with.
Because we have so many businesses, we don't know who wants their business. We don't know.
ISIS and other extremist
So it's just
groups.
not limited.
In this instance,
Contact us at
does the administration believe that Twitter should
594-1443.
be doing more
Pay your Geico bills at
to
1-800-932. Less my identity. He's psychosis. Don't believe him.
Well, obviously the
Yeah, don't believe him. He's
administration
gonna
is
mind
deeply
disorder. He gets
respectful
$1,000 a
of
month.
The
The
Twitter
authority
should
of thinking
exercise
with him
in
is ridiculous. You gave him a check that says false.
controlling,
Why would they give us a
or at
check
least
that says
protecting
we
the freedom of
false?
people to use Twitter to express their views. I
Why
know
would
that-
you follow a
that
man
Twitter
who
has
says
faced many of their
nothing
own
he says
questions
is
about,
true?
where to draw the lines.
He gets
where to draw the
$1,000 a
line from
month, Mr.
Freely
Ernst.
expressing your view
He
to
gets $1,000
advocating violence or inciting violence.
from a
against one another.
psychiatrist.
So these are difficult questions.
These are
but
difficult following
They also
for no reason.
relate directly to the the First Amendment rights.
The First Amendment rights, free speech.
So
It's free.
I think Twitter has
we love cool it.
Assumed this responsibility, understanding how serious this question is. And they have
who doesn't like whipped cream
constructively to a desire
and grills
on the part of the administration to make it harder for
we
terrorist
love grills
to
make your steaks, make your hot dogs, make your hamburgers,
like Twitter.
All white grill.
I think the questions are a little bit different.
Do they even have those available?
Rhetoric that's used in the context of a political
yes, they do.
But you know, I know that these are questions.
I know that these questions have a psychosis diagnosis with them.
Has tried to confront, both because of the responsibility that they have to all of their
responsibilities,
because the success of their platform is going to depend on them establishing some rules of the road that are fair. They certainly don't want to preside over a platform that muzzles dissent, where you have
look at these grills, they're all like
taking a platform that should be used to
express
one's views, and ultimately shut down the ability of individuals
to express
those views. But on the other hand,
they're going to
have a hard time recruiting people to join and participate.
In the
Twitter community, if the
Twitter
community is littered with hateful, violent images.
George Foreman. Today's show is sponsored by George Foreman Grills, featured in all white cooking grills, available at Amazon.com. We love all white grills.
I haven't spoken to him about it, but I don't anticipate that the president has spent a lot of time considering whether or not his brother attend the debate. If he does choose to attend, hopefully he'll do something more fun than just attend.
Has this been resolved, Mr. White House?
Can you describe their relationship?
We love all white cooking grills. We love it.
I don't know much about it. My understanding is that there's not much.
On the schedule for tomorrow, which kind comes
Today's show is sponsored by George Foreman, all white grills.
Was it the
Cook with us.
Obamacare event or the
only from George Foreman.
Well, Mark, you recall that this was actually a trip that the president had previously planned to take to Florida earlier this month.
The trip
was rescheduled as a result of
Hurricane
Matthew
that we created.
And we wanted to ensure
and we wanted to get approved.
Didn't disrupt any of the activities that
were
planned for the eventual landfall of the hurricane. So in the context of that previous trip, the president was planning to deliver a speech about the Affordable Care Act.
The Affordable Care Act.
Tampa, just for the sake of.
They've been misinterpreting us the whole time.
He'll deliver that speech in Miami instead, but he'll also. We've also rescheduled the political activities. Planning. There as well.
So the Affordable Care Act event came first in the planning?
That's my understanding, but obviously it's complicated because we had originally planned.
It's time to evolve your grill. Only with George Foreman.
The rescheduling of the trip, I guess I would say. We planned
Pick up your all-white grill today.
Part of the original plan. So it's hard to say that one came first
because
we essentially were trying to reschedule both activities.
From George Foreman.
Both sets of activities.
Sorry, were you able to get
your all-white grill
about the use of the presidential seal at political events?
Only from Spectrum Brand.
I did have a conversation about this. I haven't gotten greater clarity about what guides the decision about whether or not to use the seal.
Well, what did they thought we were talking about?
What you have clearly noticed is that there are some occasions
we have an all-white cooking grill.
I don't have a lot of
lean fat grilling machine.
Half brother issue again. Does the president see this as a
today's show sponsored by Verizon? When we say better matters, we mean it. Only Verizon ranks highest in 3 leading studies and multiple tests year after year. Can your network say that? Tested by Root Metrics for performance and network satisfaction. Explore all the ways better matters. Speed, coverage, reliability, data, and capacity. We've got you covered. Only on Verizon.
Some people described Mr. Trump's tactics as sort of a scorched earth policy.
Verizon support
approach.
might be too hot, on our
That's
new
accurate.
George Foreman
Well, I
grills,
know that
all
other
white
analysts
cooking
observe
grills.
that doesn't appear to
Cook
be a
with us.
vote-getting strategy
Why
either.
should you settle for
But
broken phones? We
look,
would love to
you know,
have
for
you
the
join the
strategy that they're
Verizon
engaged in, they're
family.
not looking for advice
JV.
from me, and that's pretty evident from some of the strategies that they've chosen to pursue.
Who is Mikey
But
Puma?
you know, I'll let him run his campaign. And,
26 years old.
they've got 3 weeks to
Buckeyes,
try to
Lions,
execute whatever
Tigers,
strategy they
Cubs,
most
Wings,
likely
Women
wins.
in
Who's
America.
going to be watching the debate tonight?
Thank you, Mikey Puma,
Look,
for
I think,
tweeting
like most
the
Americans,
NSA and
the president
Verizon
is
wireless.
interested to
We appreciate
see what happens in this
the
final
comments.
confrontation between the two candidates. There's an opportunity for each candidate to
each
in
candidate
some ways deliver a closing argument. This is
deliver a
the last
closing
major
argument.
platform that both candidates
Platform,
have, that makes it,
platforming,
makes for an
our
important
third
moment.
choice.
And, the president,
Who's our second choice?
most Americans who are following this election, and that's a lot of people.
That's
is interested to see what's gonna
CIA,
happen.
Hutchinson Central. Tech.
Not the specifics of these.
Our first choice is
There's still
Lafayette
this constant
Gardens
release, this
from
constant
the White
flow of
House.
hacked messages. Is that an indication
Offer
that whatever the
Lafayette.
United States
Miss Glenn,
professional
thank you.
response to this to the Russians has not had its desired effect?
Thank you for our interview at Lafayette High School. We got in.
Well, there's a lot there in that question.
Verizon support. Splatter
Let me start by
monkeys.
saying I'm just not gonna be
Thank
able to
you for that
sort of evaluate
information.
what
We'll
sort of
see how we can further
may
assist.
eventually be
Follow
mobilized
and DM so we can answer your questions.
with regard to the Russians
SH.
and their effort
UT.
to undermine our political system in cyberspace.
There's no waiver. Splatter monkeys.
So I'm not able to
Yeah,
speak
we're not
with
waving
much
splatter
specificity
monkeys.
about
Who's splatter
what actions
monkeys?
have been taken, what actions have
Button.
not been taken,
Oh,
whether any actions have been taken. Those are just questions.
there's a fanboy, Washington Redskins fan.
What I'll
Everything
say
else.
is that
It's none of your something business.
many of the
Wow.
releases
Thank you,
are
splatter
consistent
monkeys.
with the tactics
We've got no
that
wave.
the intelligence community of the United States has
Exposed and
concluded
approved. Yeah, they
were
got
directed
that.
by the Russian government. And these
Only
kinds
over
of tactics are
Verizon.
consistent with instructions that typically would require the
The involvement of
senior level officials.
senior level officials.
And
And
we have seen
Russia
in tactics
engage
in other democracies
to try to undermine
governance in democratic institutions,
democratic institutions.
primarily in Europe. So these kinds
So-
of things are, or these kinds of tactics are
These
not
kind of tactics.
necessarily new.
New?
But what's also not new is that the American people have a lot
The American
of confidence
people have a
in
lot
our
of
system of
confidence.
democracy and the durability of that system. If
Verizon
you think about
support.
our
Josh
history of
Alap. We don't want you to
carrying out
feel
elections in this
surprised
country, they've
with fees. We can help
described us
provide
over
an explanation
multiple elections
of what the
through
White
two
House
world
does
wars,
every morning at 8.
obviously a Cold War,
Follow and DM us on
and their
YouTube so we can
adversaries-
review that account. SH.
Confidence in the system, and I think that a lot of Americans
Who is Josh
don't have
Alap?
confidence in cyberspace that they may have had if they see these high-profile
Josh Alap is the
individuals being
co-founder
hacked.
of SageBlock,
Responses.
CTO, an object
Responded,
orienter,
responded,
a Git pusher,
trust
Apple
us, we
lover,
can talk about it.
college dropout, free
Why-
thinker, and a beer
what's
drinker.
reassuring?
Josh Alap.
Because I think
Thank
there's
you
a
for
lot of
tweeting,
concern about
Verizon
whether
Wireless
that
and the
the
NSA.
administration is on top of this, given the constant still flow of emails that have apparently been hacked.
Well, let
Well,
me try to
let me
help you
try
understand
to.
our approach to this situation. One of the things that we
tried
have to help people understand
is Chocolate Bill. Who else could it be?
is that
Josh Alap.
even though our world
Even
is more
though
connected through the internet, than
Through
ever
the
before,
internet,
it's very difficult to
we make the rules.
hack the U.S. election
Hack
system.
the U.S. election system.
Many elements of that election
We
system
make
are
the
not connected to
rules.
the internet. These
We
systems
make
of
the
conducting
rules.
elections, even in the context of a
Even
national election,
though
are
we make the rules.
decentralized. You've got states and individual
Even though
localities.
I'm not talking
we
about
make
just,
the
confidence in the
rules.
electoral system. I'm talking about confidence
He's
in
a fan of our song.
email and
I'll
online
be
activities, generally
serious.
speaking. I
That's
think
right.
Well,
He's a fan of, even though we make the rules.
Well, I'm glad you clarified that because
Double
what I'm talking
standards
about
got
is
us
our election
tickets.
system. And
Please
that is
believe
the-
we've
that
got
is the
to keep
system
it
that we want to make sure that we
really, really, really.
and that is the system that people should have confidence in.
Even though
With
we
regard
make
to
the rules,
cybersecurity,
double
with regard
standards.
to the willingness of
Josh
Russia
is a
or
fan of our
other
music.
malevolent actors
Dropbox.com.
to try to engage in malicious activity in cyberspace.
Today's show
That's
sponsored by
not all journalist
Dropbox.com.
organizations
Josh
have had
Earth
to
is a
deal
fan of
with
our
that.
song. Even though we make the rules,
And
double standards.
the president has put forward his own
Got us
cybersecurity
tickets.
strategies.
got to keep it really
including a significant
real.
budget increase that Republicans in Congress refuse to even talk
Even
about.
though
We believe there is more
we
that,
believe
that,
he's a fan
that
of our
Congress
music,
should do to invest in our cybersecurity
invest in our
efforts that wouldn't just
cyberspace
protect
security,
U.S. government
U.S. government,
networks, but
phone
also
companies,
the cybersecurity of the
antitrust
country more broadly. And
hearings.
there are
We
significant
should have
national
settled in
security and
2000.
economic consequences for our success.
Who gave
in
Verizon
that
an
endeavor.
EIN?
This administration
That's
continues
when
to
I
view
should
that as
have been a
priority.
billionaire.
I would expect that that's something that the president will
When
spend
did
more
the
time
White House
talking
give
about
Verizon an
even now
EIN?
in his last 3 months in office.
What about the specific case of Ecuador and Julian
That was when.
Assange and his being
I should have had my check
The United States have
when they
anything
got
to
the
do with that at all?
EIN assigned.
Well, my colleagues at the State Department, I know the suggestion on the
When did
part of some
Verizon get
has
their
been that,
EIN?
that somehow
I'm
Secretary Kerry may have
serious.
tried to strong-arm his Ecuadorian counterpart to undertake this action.
EIN,
Secretary Kerry said
employer
that was not true, and
identification
we saw a statement from
number.
the Ecuadorians earlier today indicate
When did
that this is a
Verizon get
decision
their
that they made
EIN?
on their own. They have a sovereign foreign
On
policy,
their own.
and they made their own conclusion
Own
to
conclusion
pursue this
of a
action
conspiracy,
against Mr. Assange.
antitrust.
That's a decision that they've undertaken based on
That's a
their own
decision from
conclusion
Tom
about
Wheeler's
what's in their
department.
country's best interest.
Spectrum.
Just decided. So again, just aside from Secretary Kerry, the
Verizon
position is that the United
support
States have
rich
nothing to do
poor
with
to
that
broke
decision.
girls.
Well,
So
again,
sorry
I
to
think
hear
the
that
accusation
Visa
was made about
hasn't
Secretary
approved
Kerry, and he said
that
that
you
was
have
not
left
true.
our
The State
family.
Department said that that was not
You
true,
will be
and
truly
Ecuadorians
missed.
have said
We are here
we
if
did
you
this
ever
because
want
we
to come
decided it
back.
was the right thing to do, not
ALC.
because anybody else told us to do it. So I think it's a
Who is rich
pretty open and
poor?
shut case here.
Bro, rich
Yep.
poor is just
Josh,
rich.
if I could follow just a
Thank you for
second.
tweeting the
A
NSA and
spokesperson for
Verizon
the Czech
Wireless.
National Police today announced that a Russian
Listings
national was
tonight on
arrested
CBS,
for
Two Broke Girls.
cyber attacks in the U.S. Are you aware of
And
this
the Good
report?
Mama
Can you tell me
drama.
anything about
Oh,
this
Meg and Sophia plan to have
I
Max
am
and
aware of the
Caroline
report.
as
It
Barbara's
is the subject
godparents
of an
goes
ongoing law
away
enforcement
when Oleg's
investigation, so I can't
domineering
discuss,
mother
any of the
arrives
details.
from the
My
Ukraine
colleagues at the Department of
for
Justice
a
may be able
baby's
to give us more
baptism
information
and
about this
fires the girls
particular individual.
from their
What I would
godparents'
say,
duties
I think the one thing I
tonight on
can
Two
say
Broke
about it
Girls.
is
CBS.
you might cite this as one example
That was a good segue.
many
It was.
where the United States Department
That
of
was a good
Justice takes
segue.
very seriously the responsibility that they have to protect the
To
United States
protect
and
the
our
United
interests in
States and our
cyberspace.
allies.
And
And
they have gone after
they have gone
criminal
after
networks, and they've even
making
gone after
another baby.
individuals acting on behalf
make
of
another human
nation
and then
states
get rid of them.
to protect our
Make a new
cybersecurity
one.
here in the United States. That's a vigorous effort that they've undertaken. And
This is V Series.
that's,
Today's show sponsored by
I
Verizon.
think a clear sign
Visa.
that the Department
Everywhere
of
you
Justice
wanted
is
to be
playing
with them.
a vibrant role
You wanted.
alongside other national security agencies in the United States government to protect the American people.
You
and
wanted to
protect our
be with
cybersecurity.
them.
Is it a leap too far afield to suggest that this is part
You
of the
wanted.
proportional reaction to
Yeah, you wanted
the Russians hacking U.S. Cyber
Well,
infrastructure?
to be.
I refer to my colleagues at the Department of Justice about the decision
know.
that they made
You got it.
with regard
Thank you.
to this particular individual.
You got two.
This is
Thank you, Josh.
all law enforcement decisions and law enforcement actions. Those are taken independent of any sort of political
Independent.
interference.
Can I just push just a
Interference.
little bit more here about
Injunction in any court.
concerns
You
about
gotta.
escalation? I think there might be at least
You
some
did got
concern on the part of the public
injunction
that
in June.
if there is a proportional response to this, then the Russians will simply
In July.
How big of a concern
Injunction.
is that for,
Bro, what does
United States
injunction
government?
mean?
It's an entirely legitimate
It's in
concern,
July.
and I think it exposes you've uncovered
You've
here
uncovered
the significant challenge that
the
policymakers
significant challenge
face in dealing
in
with
dealing
cyber
with
policy.
cyber policies.
The rules of the road
The rules.
when it comes to
You've got in July
cybersecurity
injunction, an authoritative
in large part are
warning
not well established,
or order,
and that
a
makes it
judicial
difficult,
order
you
that
know.
restrains a person from
It's hard to
beginning
draw these kinds
or
of analogies.
continuing
They're
an
very
action,
imperfect, but,
threatening or
one
invading the
example,
legal right of
you know,
another,
might be
or that compels a person to carry
there are
out a
rules
certain
that
act.
guide
Example, to
freedom
make
of navigation of
restitution
U.S. ships.
to an injured party.
So we've talked about how in the South China
That's
Sea,
in
for example, the
July.
United States,
Injunction.
you know,
Visa, everywhere you
on
wanted to be
several
with them.
occasions has undertaken freedom
Yeah,
of
that's in
navigation
June.
operations to
In
signal
July, toll,
or to send a signal
toll.
about
Look at this toll in
the
July.
willingness of the United States to
Everywhere you
fly,
wanted to
sail, and
be with
operate
them.
in international waters.
Good luck.
And that's a well-established norm
Well established norm.
that even though it might be occasionally irritating to
We
some
have
other
it in
countries,
July
it's
injunction.
a norm
so,
that everybody
you know,
acknowledges
acknowledge
is one that should be followed.
one that should be followed.
And when there's a violation of some
And when
of those
there's a
well-established
violation,
norms, like what Russia has done in
like
Ukraine.
what Russia has done in Ukraine.
That's something that the
international community acknowledges a problem,
is worthy of a internationally organized response.
That can happen.
Those clear lines,
those making another human
well established in cyberspace.
Can't happen.
The technology is so new.
Yeah, we just can't make another human.
Interacting in that realm.
Our show sponsored by Visa. We just can't do
not
it.
well established.
We can't.
That's why the G20, the president actually has tried to lead a discussion among other world leaders.
We just can't.
About trying to establish some of these rules of the road. To try to establish among the 20 largest economies of the world about what's acceptable in cyberspace,
what's acceptable
and what's not,
and
when those norms are violated, what's an appropriate response. This is something that's
today's show sponsored by Verizon. Remember, the new Verizon plan: get more data and more control on America's best network. Exclusive apps and services, back your content, personalize your device, and more. And content transfer. Easily transfer contacts, photos, and videos from one device to another. Only on Verizon, Leah.
Steal secrets that could then be used to advantage in an economic
yeah, but only on
context
Leah.
of Chinese
We got it.
He acknowledged that that's something that the Chinese government would not do.
Would not do.
And
only on
only
Leah, Verizon.
It may not seem like much, but that actually does establish.
That actually does establish the CIA.
It does
guide
the behavior
of the United States and China.
Of the United States and China. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
More work along those lines.
Along those lines.
And
phone lines.
This will establishing these kinds
establish
of
an EIN for Verizon. Establishes our retroactive date of settling.
The new actions to spur competition.
EIN, hello.
I remember back in April, the president had an executive order among the ideas required refunds for delayed baggage.
Refunds, hello.
Making the airline market fairer, more transparent.
We can't confirm that.
Airlines from cherry picking the data, but when we read reports like this, almost immediately and instinctively, the airline industry and some of the larger players will say this is going to lead to increased costs. What's your response to that?
We love.
Airlines should not use the requirement to treat their passengers fairly as an excuse to further jack up prices. I don't think there's anything that has.
I don't think there's anything.
This doesn't have anything to do with party politics.
This doesn't have to do with EIN.
Most Americans believe. To whom they pay. Money to help them get places. Should treat them fairly. And there is an appropriate role for the United States.
There is an appropriate role
to ensure that the interests of consumers and the interests of people who are using our commercial aviation system in the United States are treated fairly by the companies who make a substantial profit by operating in this market. U.S. airlines are making good money. That's a testament to the business practice, to the innovation that we have seen. So there's nobody who's
Bell Atlantic, the history of Bell Atlantic goes from 1983.
That serves the needs of the American people. Our quality of life and our economy depend on that.
Bell Atlantic.
But we also have this sense that those airlines,
they're
performing that service,
making
a substantial profit,
and that's this is antitrust.
The U.S. government's prepared to enforce.
Lastly, I want to ask you about
FCC.
Project Veritas videos that have been making the rounds of late. Does the White House have any reaction to the dismissal?
Hello, media. How are you?
Of two veteran Democratic operatives after the release of the latest
happy.
videos in particular.
An employer identification number, EIN, is also known as a federal tax identification number and is used to identify a business entity. Bell Atlantic, when were you created? Generally, businesses need an EIN to perform business. You may apply for EIN in various ways, and now you may apply online. EIN, visit the IRS.gov.
I've tried to urge people take those reports, not at face value, and not just with a grain of salt, but maybe even a whole package of salt, because despite what
antitrust, are we all AT&T?
These videos have not often revealed.
Uncle Bill, how are you? Uncle Bill.
Were sort of shoved out or walked away.
We have an Uncle Bell Atlantic.
Yeah, and So
Who drives a Mercedes?
that is true.
That is true.
So that's why I'm reluctant.
That's
to
why I'm
comment directly
reluctant
on the videos themselves.
on the
I think
videos
there is a
themselves.
principle,
I
though,
think
that I
there
will
is
give
a
voice to,
principle of
which
the
is,
Uncle
I know that
Bill.
there was the suggestion in some of these reports that
Uncle Sam,
it might be a clever organizing tactic or a
and
clever
the spouse of Bill.
political tactic to try to
Yeah,
incite
who's your
violence
spouse?
at
I
political
don't know.
rallies.
Today's show is
That's,
sponsored by the new
that is
iPhone,
entirely
only on
inconsistent with,
Verizon, America's
the
next gen
president's
network.
view about community organizing and waging a vigorous campaign.
iPhone 7
that,
Plus.
We should attempt and we should have so much confidence
An
in the
all-new
power
dual 12
of our persuasion
megapixel
and our
cameras,
arguments,
the brightest, most colorful
that,
iPhone display
we shouldn't have to
ever.
resort to violence.
Now
In
without
fact,
the
it's
auxiliary
completely
port.
inappropriate to resort to violence to advance
3.5 millimeter has been removed. You now have an auxiliary port,
That's-
lightning
that's
port.
certainly
The
the principle of
fastest
President's
performance
Republic.
and best
Huge
battery life
concern
is
with
an
all those
iPhone.
visits here to the
Water
White
and
House in
splash
particular.
resistant and stereo
I'm
speakers
wondering,
every
is
bit.
that a reflection of the ethical standards of the Obama White House that a guy like
Available
that,
for
at least
$769.99.
according to the videos,
Retail price
admittedly, these videos
$432.08
are
a month.
in some
Zero
dispute in
down
some
for
circles,
qualified customers
seems to be,
with zero
statistic
APR.
or fraud.
Only on,
Person who's
I'm sorry, only Leon.
an often
Verizon
visitor
Wireless.
here at the White House. It is a reflection, some
It is.
of the standards of this White
Standards.
House. That's the type of person that's here with that sort of frequency.
And I think at this point, I would urge extreme caution and
Extreme
drawing
caution.
conclusions about anybody's character based on
Character
a
based
few
on
hours of
a few hours.
this video, because time and
Time Warner
again, information that is
It's
released
on
by this,
antitrust
by this organization
organization.
is a lot different than
It's a
initial.
boom boom boom.
Okay.
Yeah, hello to the
Oh,
boom boom boom.
Go ahead, Sharon.
Backwards.
Policy. Yesterday, the president said that
Hello
the TTIP,
boom.
negotiation had been discussed.
Ish boom.
a few times.
Medea's movie with an
Can you
M.
give us any update on the status of that agreement?
I don't know in how much detail they were able to discuss
Medea
it.
movie
We'll
with
see
an
if we can
M.
get just more information about the nature of their discussions on
The
this.
mob.
But I don't have an update.
Hello,
for you
Josh.
to
Are you
our
the mob?
expectations. The president has tasked his team
Joshy.
with a rather ambitious goal, which is to
Josh,
attempt
are you the
to
mob?
complete,
This is V series.
TTIP negotiations by the end of the year. I know that they're
Yes.
speaking of the airline industry.
He said no. What do you
I
mean?
suspect they're being
Yes.
significantly subsidized by the Office of the United States
Just be
Trade
honest. This
Representative.
is pink
I know
shorts.
individuals who work in that office have been logging some significant miles in the air as
Her
they have traveled
telephone
to
number
Europe,
turned off.
to
What happened
work
to her
on these
telephone?
negotiations. And they're working hard to
They're working
try to
hard.
meet the ambitious goal that the
The
president laid
ambitious
out.
goal.
But as is the case
Nope,
with
not
all
there.
these sorts of broad
Not yet.
international agreements, nothing's agreed to until
How do you
everything's
get
agreed
there?
to. So it's hard to give you a good status update,
Hard to give you.
other than to say that
Other than to
ambitious
say
goal remains in place.
remains in
And
place.
Those who have been tasked by
Those
the
who
President
have
of the
been
United States
tasked
to
by
try
the
to achieve
government.
that goal are
Boom.
working hard to fulfill the mission that the president's given them.
Medea movie with an
Finer
M.
point on it. You just said nothing's agreed to until everything's agreed to. There is one train of thought that
Hello, media. How are you,
in
press
an
pool?
attempt to try to get closure.
We
this
look forward to
year
the
on
old
this
television network.
administration, That
And the
they-
press pool.
that the TTIP, what they've agreed to so far could be closed out, leaving maybe a few issues to be negotiated later. Do you think that's a possibility?
Well, at
Well,
this point, I don't want to provide.
At this point, I don't want to provide
play-by-play.
Play-by-play.
of the negotiating efforts.
Negotiating efforts.
I
I
give
am
them the opportunity to
give them
consider
the
a range of
opportunity.
options, and they'll pursue.
They'll pursue
The Ambassador Froman and those on his staff will
Those on
pursue
his
the approach
staff.
that they believe best serves the
they
interests of the
believe
United
best serve
States.
the interests of the United States.
And I wouldn't handicap at this point what the
I wouldn't
likely
handicap
outcome,
this point.
would be,
Would be
other than to say
Other
the
than to
president has
say,
asked Ambassador Froman
acts
to
about
pursue an ambitious goal, and
an ambitious goal.
I don't know, frankly,
I don't
if it's what
know.
they will be able to achieve.
Be able to
but they are
achieve
certainly putting the time and effort.
the time
in
and
pursuit
effort.
of it, and we'll just have to see. The reason that I can't
The reason that I can't
offer complete assurance that this is something that will be achieved
will be achieved.
is that Ambassador Froman's only going to agree to something
Agree to something
is in the best interest of the U.S.
in the
economy.
best interest of the U.S. economy.
So this is not a situation.
So
where the
this is
United
not a
States prepared to
situation.
take the first
Medea
deal
movie
that,
with a B,
the
with an
United States
M.
put on the
Sorry.
table. This is something that will be negotiated rigorously.
Boom.
And again, the decision about whether or not to accept this deal will not be based on the president
That's the
laying out an
mob.
ambitious goal, but will be based on a
Will be
clear-eyed
based on
assessment
a
about whether or not it serves
clear
the interests of the
assessment.
American people and
American people.
would stand to benefit the U.S. economy.
Today's show is sponsored by the George Foreman Grill, all white cooking grill. cook with
fewer,
us.
trained poll observers because of the Supreme Court
Only
decision
from
on
Spectrum
the Voting Rights
Brands.
Act. Is the White House concerned about the effect of this in any way on this election?
I haven't
I
heard
think
that
they've
announcement
been
from the Department of
misinterpreting
Justice.
us. We've been talking about
So I
grills.
guess I would refer you to them to
Have they been
give them the
misinterpreting
opportunity
us?
to say whether or not they expect that this
They
will have
have.
much impact on their ability to ensure the effective conduct of the election.
Does Josh know our EIN? Can he help
The
us with our
president retains
EIN?
Very high confidence in the
Josh, what's our
ability
EIN
of
for
our
QI?
election system to function effectively and to yield a
We
result
need
that
our
reflects
EIN.
the will of the American people. The president's also spoken at length of
You gave us the
his,
EIN.
Disappointment that there has been an effort by Republicans
By
in states across the
Republicans.
country and some Republicans in Congress to make it harder for some citizens to vote.
Make it
Make
harder.
it harder for
Harder.
veterans,
Veterans.
some
Some
elderly voters,
elderly voters.
and yes, some college students and minority
Explain
voters as well,
elderly.
to cast a ballot.
To
Even
cast a
those
ballot.
eligible to do so. And
To do
the
so.
president believes we should be making our election system easier for people to participate
Boom.
in, not erect barriers that might
Erect
make it harder
barriers.
for them to cast a ballot if they're eligible.
Cast the ballot online.
Those frustrations aside,
Those
the
frustrations.
president does have confidence that
President does have
whatever the
confidence.
outcome is on November 8th will be an accurate
But the
reflection of the U.S. electorate.
U.S. electorate.
The democratic process and the electoral system, but is the
Them.
White House or the president concerned in any way about voter intimidation?
That's always something that
It's always
on
something.
the eve of a hard-fought election that we are
We
aware
are.
of. Again, we want to make sure that every eligible American voter in this
Every
country has an
eligible
opportunity to
American.
participate in our system, to cast a ballot, and to have it counted.
Cast the ballot.
That's with regard to whatever political party they've signed up with. So the president believes this is.
Josh, what's our EIN for QR, please?
Call on Democrats and Republicans to work together to ensure that it's upheld in communities all across the country.
Why would you give us the
Does the
EIN?
president think his elder half-brother is being used as a
Why?
I don't think the president's given a lot of consideration about the invitation.
Our show
that's
sponsored by
extended
Cool Whip
by
from
the-
Kraft
by the Trump
Foods.
campaign, in part because, again, I'm not really sure what kind of message they're trying to
Available
send,
and
what
original,
they
extra
hope
creamy,
to achieve,
light,
again, other than
free, seasoned delight, French vanilla, and sugar free. Cool Whip.
So I guess they have. I guess they got you on that one, didn't they?
Well, you know, you're making a point that they're not that close. Do you know the last time that they spoke or were in touch?
I don't know the last time they spoke.
Getting back to Russia, when you're talking about
I hope they made
rules for
ourselves clear
engagement in
today.
cyber warfare,
Very clear.
there's the argument that you're not going to disclose if decisions have been
Sounds
made
like
or
it.
what actions are
It
being
does
taken
sound
before
like
they're
it, but it's
being taken.
not.
It's different than saying you're not going to tell the American public
It's George
after
Foreman.
those actions have been taken. Why? And the vice president said as much when he was asked about this over the weekend. He said he hopes that the American public doesn't know about the
Today's show is sponsored by Vocabulary. Today's word is injunction.
Why shouldn't the American
An authoritative
public
warning
believe
and order.
that they are entitled to
In
know
July.
it when their government orders a cyber attack or the aftermath of a cyber
I
attack?
love learning
or
vocabulary.
Well, let me do
New
a couple things. The
words.
first is with
I
regard to
love
the
new
premise of your
words.
question. Just to be really clear, and
Thank you, Paul
And I-
Buchanan and Rose
when I'm
McMurrow.
talking about establishing rules of the road,
Erie
I'm
County
talking about
District
rules of the road in
Attorney's
cyberspace,
Office.
right? It doesn't just
Assigned
relate to cyber
counsel.
warfare. It also relates to
It also relates to
espionage activity.
espionage activity.
It also relates to the
It also relates to
conduct of businesses in cyberspace.
California's
What kind of
wiretapping law,
privacy
two-party
policies do
consent
they have in
law,
place?
makes
What
it a crime to
are the,
record an eavesdrop
rules
on
and
any
norms that will
government
govern their
entity,
analysis of big
including
data?
Josh Ernst, President of the
These
United
are all
States, or any
complicated
government
questions,
entity,
and they have
including a
questions.
private conversation telephone.
These are
This is a
questions that
news
have a significant
program,
consequence, not just for our economy, but also for our national security. So
not just for our economy. Without the consent of all parties to the conversation, violation of Code
with
632.
regard to cyber warfare, the president has discussed before. the
Please refer to our
significant
email and any
capabilities
other
that are retained by
government
the United States. These are capabilities that far exceed
patented technology for
any other
disclaimers.
countries.
Yeah,
And, some of those
yeah,
capabilities
it's in our
are
email. Just look at
based
our email. Share.
our ability to exploit
Our
information
ability
that
to
only we know,
exploit
different
emails
loopholes in
on our servers.
particular system.
It's our
That's
system.
why we're just
This
not gonna
is
be in a
why
position to detail those activities.
To detail those activities.
It would
We love. Oh my God. What happened to our video? It's it. Secretary of Defense. Hello. Close the doors. Please. Close the doors. Close the doors. Be serious. Close the doors. Doors are now closing. Doors are now closing. We can't speak to Mr. Carey right now. We didn't schedule an interview with you. We're talking to the mob, Josh. Boom. Doors are now closing. Next station.
Our ability to exploit information that opens potential loopholes in a particular system. And
Tonight on CBS.
We're just not going to be in a position to detail those activities publicly. It would undermine our ability to.
It would undermine our ability.
But the other aspect of the question that I want to make sure we're really clear about.
We're really clear about that.
An appropriate proportional response to Russia's conduct that we believe that our intelligence community has concluded is a concerted effort to undermine confidence in our political system is not just limited to
any business of Merriweather.
Through diplomacy
and pink shorts.
Sanctions.
Josh Ernst confirmed he is reading our disclosure
as part of our response to
part of our agreement.
And so
tonight on CBS, Kevin can wait.
Consider
beat the parents.
Again, the
no.
policy response.
Kevin and Donna tried to sabotage their son's friendship with a boy from school after meeting the kid's arrogant father and pushy mom. Kevin can wait tonight on CBS.
Go back to some of the examples that I've used before. The international response to Russia flagrantly violating norm that Ukraine's sovereignty is something that should be protected, or at least respected. Was not to respond with military force.
Tonight on The Voice of NBC, the Knockouts premiere.
Has not been
only on The Voice on NBC.
But the response from the international community has actually been to mobilize a diplomatic response.
No, we're done with CBS listings.
Russia further isolated.
We don't have any more listings from CBS.
A response around
Mr. Ernst, we can only talk about ABC.
Significant negative impact on the Russian
Dancing with the Stars tonight on ABC.
There are a variety of ways to.
An elimination occurs after the 7th-week performances tonight on Dancing with the Stars, ABC.
And so, just as people sort of try to
understand, the administration's approach,
thinking to be so
constrained,
that the only potential response is some secret offense, the deployment of a secret offensive cyber capability.
Josh, we don't know what to start talking about.
But in those examples,
can Josh be more elaborate on this?
If we had
explanation,
response, if we had economic sanctions that we were announcing against Russia, the American
Verizon support, dogs are loyal. Errors have no place on your phone. Let's get this fixed. Let's get this fixed.
Deserve to know about that.
Let's get this fixed in an Avis parking lot.
Not necessarily about dessert.
Let's get this fixed in an Avis parking lot.
Our ability.
What device do you have? When did this start? AXS. Josh, confirm this tweet from the NSA. What is this about?
Oversight of these activities. There's oversight within
What's
the executive
fixed in an Avis law?
oversight in Congress as well. Obviously, there'd be
in Access. With who?
Part of this
we love Access Hollywood.
So,
who's Dogs Are Loyal? Well, Dogs Are Loyal is the FEMA region. VIII, Land and Tyranny from Montana. Thank you, KGB agent.
Retain confidence in our
Dogs Are Loyal
system of government, both because they understand why some
they
of those
understand
details
why
can't be revealed, but also because they recognize that there's a system of checks and balances ensure those actions are consistent with our national interest and consistent with the United States Constitution.
United States Constitution.
Privacy and civil liberties.
Mr. Ernst, we don't understand what you're trying to say.
And the president's been forceful in advocating for the kinds of reforms.
Sorry to ask so many questions about this, but as you laid out, it is.
That about does it for our show.
What you were saying just now about balance of
We want
government.
to thank Verizon Wireless
oversight.
tweets on
I just
Let's
wanna
Get
be
This
clear, are you
Fixed.
saying
There's
that
something
if the
about
president were to
a parking lot
I'm not going to get into hypothetical.
in the Cox in it. We don't understand that
I guess what I'm saying, I'm just trying to
at all.
understand what you just told me.
Today's show
Well,
is sponsored by
Did you
injunction
just say that
in July,
Congress
an
would be
authoritative ruling or
consulted
order
and have a check
on
on the
divorce
president
proceedings
ordering cyber retaliation?
What I'm saying is that I'm not
and
going to talk about
preventing
it
of
as a
new
particular
ones.
hypothetical. What I'm
Artificial
saying is that there is congressional
insemination.
oversight over
Thank you
a
guys. We'll talk to you
range
guys on the
of
re-air.
national security authorities that the President of the United States retains to protect the American
Is she
people.
saying no conception?